Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the kitchen making a variation of an all-time classic. We're going to make a walnut pesto as opposed to pine nuts. And the reason we're going to do that is because walnuts are something that we tend to have around a lot more, and a lot of people that I know tend to find walnuts cheaper and just easier to use and easier to keep on hand in their home. So it's a great substitute to put in place for pine nuts. So sit back, hit that subscribe button, and enjoy the video. Alright guys, on the counter today you can see we got a pretty short list of ingredients. The main one being the basil, because it's going to be a basil based pesto. Just freshly garden picked and washed is fine. We have some walnuts here. We're going to lightly toast those in the oven here in a minute, and that's going to help thicken it up and make it nice. Parmesan cheese here is going to add that salty goodness and also thicken it up a little bit. A little bit of lemon for freshness, and just whole garlic cloves. And olive oil is going to also help give it the body and volume that it needs, and give the pesto and walnuts something that they can blend into. Got a little bit of salt here in case we need just to give it a little bit more flavor. And let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just spread the walnuts out on a cookie sheet, and we're going to put those in the oven to toast off. Our oven's set at about 360, and we're just going to go for a few minutes until they're bright. Alright, so as you can see now, the walnuts are nice and toasted and they've came out. So we're back over here on the counter. We have 2 ounces of Parmesan, 3 cloves of garlic, and 1 lemon. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to take the garlic and I'm going to run it on the microplane real fast straight into the Parmesan cheese, because we're going to be putting it all in there. And if you don't have a microplane, you can absolutely feel free to just chop it really finely with a knife, because it is going into a food processor, so in theory that's going to break down any larger pieces that's in there anyway. And we're going to put the lemon zests in there also. We're not using the juice, we're just using the zest because we don't want any acid in there, just the lemon flavor. So now that we have the lemon zest and garlic in there, I'm just going to scoot these things out of the way, and we're going to grab our little food processor ninja here. I'm going to split this into 2 batches, hopefully about somewhat even, and that way we have room. I'm just going to mix this in here, but here we go. So I'm going to take half the basil, which this is 3 cups of not packed basil, just loosely set here. So I'm going to put about half of it, about 1.5 cups in there. And I'm going to put, this is 3 ounces of walnuts, about 1 cup. And I'm just going to put half of that in there. About half the Parmesan cheese. And we're going to start with about 1.5 ounces of olive oil. We're going to put the top on. We're going to give it a buzz. All right. So we buzzed it in the food processor, and as you can see, it's not quite came all the way together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to rake the sides, and it looks like we actually have enough room in there for the rest of our stuff. Now that a lot of it's broken down, it's taking up a lot less space. So we'll just combine these into one batch. So again, we're putting the other 1.5 cups of basil leaves, the other 1.5 ounces of olive oil, the other 1 ounce of Parmesan cheese, the rest of the lemon zest, and about another 1.5 ounces of olive oil. Alright, so as you can see down in here, a lot of it's very nicely incorporated. It's kind of come together pretty smooth. Still got a little bit of a chunk to it, so we're just going to taste it. And It's always good to taste it before you add salt to anything. That salt's going to incorporate well into cold, because you can't take it out. And with the Parmesan cheese, things tend to be a little too salty anyway. So now we're just going to add in a teaspoon of salt. We're going to give it one final buzz just to bring the salt well incorporated, and then we should be done. Alright, there you have it. Walnut pesto. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you put your walnut pesto on. Have a good day.